Yes. Hello, my name is Roger Widener. I'm a former attorney and public prosecutor. Years ago, I ran the Consumer Fraud Department in the Multnomah County District Attorney's Office. I was the 1998 Oregon Reform Party candidate for governor. For the last 25 years, I've been working full-time with hundreds, perhaps thousands of other people around the country who've had their children, their property, or their freedom stripped from them in these sham, often star chamber type judicial proceedings. For insisting on speaking in court on the record, like I am to you today, I've been repeatedly arrested. Many times, 23 times I've been arrested in the last 25 years, many times violently in the courthouses, sheriff's offices, in the state capitol, in the Oregon Supreme Court, for trying to speak about innocent people having their children and their property and their freedom stripped from them in these sham, often star chamber type judicial proceedings by a gang of shamelessly corrupt bureaucrats and attorneys, all either licensed or employed by the corporate state of Oregon, doing this to citizens. Listen to me, listen to me, listen to me. I've studied or practiced law for over 50 years. I am an authority. When I speak in courts, in the Supreme Court, in House and Senate Judiciary Committees, no senator, no representative, no judge questions the truthfulness of a single statement I'm making about the criminal conduct of innocent people in this state having their children, property, or freedom stripped from them in these sham proceedings. They all just try to ignore the problem. I have today with me Carolyn Smith, who is a classic example of the outrageous treatment that citizens in this state are being subjected to. Carolyn Smith is a grandmother. I told her I was fortunate that I had a grandmother like her when I was a small boy for disciplining and inculcating responsibility. And so, Carolyn, thank you for coming on the program.
Thanks for having me.
Tell to people, like I just told them, what they have been doing to you, talking to them.
Yes. My name is Carolyn Smith, and I have my grandchildren with me. And the DHS gave me 6 of my grandchildren. They was from 0 to 11, no, 0 to 1. And anyway, they gave me all 6 of them. And
when was that, Carolyn?
That was in '95. They gave all 6 of them to me.
And then after '95, what was the next event that occurred?
My daughter had 2 more kids. She had 9 in all. She had 9 children, and most of them was boys, and she had 2 girls, and the rest of them was boys. And so I tried to get my other 2 grandchildren from DHS. They wouldn't give them to me. They said I was too old, I'm not protected, my house is too small, and I'm a single parent. And then I asked the head man of DHS,
His name?
Bruce Goldsboro. I asked him, did he set me up to fail? He said, yes, he set me up to fail.
So this is a state-employed individual who's telling you, a grandmother, that he has intentionally set you up to fail.
To fail with my 6 grandchildren. And I told him that I got 3 in college. I really got 2 in college and 1 on his way to college and 2 in high school. Now, tell me where I failed at. I did not fail. And these other 2, they took away from me. It's a boy and a girl.
What ages were they when they took them away from you?
5 and 2, I believe.
And how did they take them away from you, Carolyn?
They said I was too old and my house is too small and I'm not protected and I'm a single parent.
When they actually took them out of your possession, did they come with the police, or how did that happen?
No, it's a long story. It was my daughter called me one night and she said, Mom, Kofi is having a seizure. And I said, call 911, and she called 911. Well, anyway, she took him, and they told her that she would not, he cannot go home with her because he had crack cocaine in his body. And so they kept him. So they did not, they came to she called and told me, she said, Mom, go and get Celine. I went to get Celine, that's a little girl, and they came to my house, knocked on my door. They said, we come to get the baby. I said, what for? I'm a grandmother. They said, we have to take her and put her in a home. So they took her, just took her. They didn't have no search warrant. They didn't have anything. I feel like they shouldn't have taken her from me.
Absolutely not.
Because I had the other 6 kids. Why couldn't they then let me keep her?
Well, this, what notice were you given that this was going to happen? Did they call and tell you that they were going to do this, or did they just show up at your house?
They just showed up at my house. They didn't call and tell me they was going to take her away from me.
Did they have uniformed police officers with them when they showed up?
They did. They did. The police came. The DHS worker didn't come. The police came.
The police came and took the child?
To take her, yes. They took her.
Did they show you any documents?
No, they did not.
Was this the Portland Police Department?
Yes, it was.
Did
yes.
you contact, then you contacted the police? Who did you contact at the police department?
I didn't contact anybody.
You have not contacted anyone about this?
No, no.
Have you contacted any other political people about what they've done to you?
No, we just went to court. When we went to court, they said, Miss Smith, the judge said, Nancy Waller said, Miss Smith, the kids will be residing with you. And this was during the holidays, Thanksgiving holidays was coming up. She said, the kids will be residing with you, Miss Smith. And I said, yes, like that. And they had sent me their Social Security card. They sent everything that I need to know when they was at the doctors and blah, 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 and all of that. And then it was a CASA worker. Never met her, never seen her before. I didn't know what it was. But anyway, they also came to the court. And then they said, well, we'll give you 7 days. I didn't know why they was giving me 7 days to get back to me about the kids coming to stay. So when we go back to court, they said that...
back to Nan Waller's court?
Yes, Nan G. Waller's court. They said that they will, I can't keep them. And that's when they said, I'm too old, I'm not protective, I'm a single parent, and all of that.
Have you been
Too old is discrimination for one thing. Then when they took them, they put them up for adoption and they put them on the farm. And that's early day slavery. Why would they put them on the farm? We have not had no contact with them. The brothers, other sisters had no contact with them as of today.
So these were, you had a tight family. You're the grandmother, you had the parents, and then you had the grandchildren, and you all had an interactive relationship with each other, a healthy interactive relationship with each other.
Yes, we did.
And that now the state came in with its big hand and took your children and saying you're too old and your house is too small.
Yeah.
Is that what happened?
Yeah, that's with my 2 little ones. They got right today. They have not had no contact with the brothers or the sisters or me.
For how long?
Ever since 07. We haven't seen them since 07.
So they completely isolated these 2 small children from their biological family.
They did. They did.
And they don't, and they have not seen fit to address your concerns?
No, none whatsoever. None.
And who is, and so you've been in front of Judge Nan Waller?
Yes.
And have you been in front of anyone else, any other state agents or public employees? Who have you talked to about this outrageous way that your family's being treated by the state of Oregon? Any other public officials that you've...
No, the only people, they said the only way that the 6 kids could see their brothers and sister is that they go to therapy. I said, hell no, they won't go to no therapy. You done took them through all these things. Every Tuesday we used to see them. Then they changed it every other Tuesday. And then all at once they said, well, we're going to adopt them out. So we have not had any contact. They said, well, when they turn 18, they could get in contact with you. We want to see them before any 18 years old.
Absolutely.
18?
Absolutely. See,
I don't know what they're doing to my grandchildren.
What they're doing, Carolyn, let me tell you what they're doing. They're breaking down the bonding in the family between parent and child, so that when that child now, when he's 18 years old and he's had no contact, he's totally isolated. He has no support unit out there. The foster parents that have been taking him in, and some of those foster homes, I'm told, have 15, 16, 17 children in them because of the money. So they're in it for the money,
Yes.
and not for the well-being and the development
Right.
of healthy, normal children. When you take a child like that, and have you noticed? Well, of course, you haven't seen them, so you don't know. You can't tell how much they've been traumatized.
No, I don't
You're
know.
not you can't talk to them on the telephone.
No telephone, no nothing, no cards, no letter, no nothing.
Unbelievable, Carolyn. That
Nah.
these are public employees that are doing. This is the state of Oregon.
The state of Oregon.
Listen to me, people, because I was the state 40 years ago. I ran the Consumer Fraud Department in the District Attorney's Office. In this state, in this country, before anything can be taken from a citizen, that citizen must be given the equal protection of the law and due process of law. Article 1, Section 1 of the Oregon Constitution mandates that behavior by public employees against citizens. Want to take something from you? I was the government. I would indict you. I would draw up the complaint. Here's what I'm charging you with. And then you would have a chance to deny what is in the complaint and go in, and if there's some dispute, we go in before a neutral judge who litigates that disputed fact, that I'm charging you with this and you're saying it's a bunch of hogwash. And we can have it out in a neutral form so that when we get through, you say, did you get a fair hearing? Yes. And so the people, we have a civil society. Have you received any fair hearings?
No, not really.
No.
And Bruce Goldsboro said they made a mistake. If they made a mistake, I expect for them to correct their mistakes.
And Bruce Goldberg is whom?
He was the head of DHS.
Mm-hmm. And have you done any background checking on DHS and their authority to be doing what? Have they shown you any documents showing that they have authority to do this?
None whatsoever.
None.
None.
And what kind of documents have you seen? Have judges signed documents doing implementing what this DHS has done?
No, not to me.
So you've
They
not seen
haven't
any of
said-
this. And
not
you're the
to me.
biological. You were the like my grandmother. When I was a boy, my grandmother stayed at the house, and she took over the house. I mean, she was the authority at our house. They don't treat you in that way at all.
No, they don't. I have a 4-bedroom house. I had it set up for all of the kids, all of them, my boys and my girls. And they did not. They came to look at it. It was passed inspection 2 or 3 times and everything. But they did not give me my babies. They didn't give them to me.
Because of what this happened to you in 2001, you said that's started.
That's when I started the GRG, Grandparents Raising Grandchildren.
Why don't you tell the listeners this Grandparents Raising Grandchildren, and it's Carolyn Smith, the CEO and president, and tell the listeners about this organization and what you're doing and what you want to have done.
Every last Tuesday of each month, we have a meeting from 9 to 11 at Ockley Green School.
Go ahead.
From Ockley Green School, every Tuesday from 9 to 11, we have snacks and for the people and coffee. And the address of Ockley Green School is 6031 North Montana Street, Portland, Oregon, 97217. If you want to come, we are a support group. We help in any way that we can, and if you have to go to court, we expect for people to let us know a week ahead of time so we could be prepared. And like the judge will ask, do you have your family here? You say yes. The GRG, Grandparents Raising Grandchildren, we will be your support. We'll be right there for you. We can't we just can't just go in there and say give them their children or anything like that, but we can help you all we can. Because DHS always said we're trying to put families together, not tear them apart. But they are tearing families apart. They're breaking them up. They take our kids and they give our kids these pills and all of that. And then the kids be hollering and screaming. That's why they give them the pills. But when they with their family, they don't do that. They just want to be with their parents, their mother or whoever they with. That's who they want to be with. And people just take them away. They don't know them strange people. Then they just taking our kids to make money off of them. That's all they're doing, taking the kids, making money off of them. Black kids is more. Why, I don't know. But they're just taking them for the money. And that's all they're doing, for the money.
You know Will Gaston?
I do.
Yeah, and Will Gaston, I got involved because they had taken his daughter and they found out that she had been abused, sexually abused in many of these foster homes, and transferring them from one home to the other.
To another.
And we went to court to try to stop that, and but it was unbelievable that they arrested Will and they arrested his wife. Unbelievable. And in the courthouse, arresting her, Pamela Gaston, when confronting these public employees. And people, this is what you must wake up, people. You cannot be children in adult bodies and tolerate this kind of treatment of families. To have small children traumatized and the family traumatized by having them taken because they're after the money. I've heard them in these caseworkers talk about keeping their numbers up.
Yeah.
Keeping their numbers
that's what they're doing.
As if these children, these beautiful little children, are just commodity.
Yes.
To fatten the paycheck of some bureaucrat that's doing this, and they have no concern at all for the long-term development of that child. Mm-hmm. All they're after is the money and this federal funding that has been doing this. This is since really got bad when Lyndon Johnson, the so-called Great Society, came in.
Okay.
And then in 1966, the state of Oregon adopted the Uniform Commercial Code. Before that time, we had constitutional courts. A constitutional court, the parties are equal, you and I are equal. The judge is a neutral. We file documents and there's some issue that we are disagreeing about. We go before a neutral judge and litigate that disputed fact before a neutral judge. Now that's what they all swear and profess and are paid to do, Carolyn. That's what their oath of office says. I haven't seen any of that recently. As a former attorney prosecutor, I had the former chief judge, Arno Denicky, up to my place years ago. He said he was too old to get involved. I confronted Hardy Myers, our attorney general. 35 years ago, I was in a group called Campaigners with him about this.
Okay.
He gets this kind of a look. Nothing changes. Unbelievable. And then that this kind of thing can be going on, and that people like myself and others, Pamela, was repeatedly arrested. Will was repeatedly arrested. Mm-hmm. When we do speak in the courtroom, like I'm able to do now, and when I get through speaking in a courtroom, House or Senate Judiciary Committees, I asked the members, do you have any questions? No questions. I said, people, you cannot tolerate that. What we pay these public employees to do is to abide by their oath of office. If they want to take something from you, if you're unfit or whatever, they give you notice, and they give you a chance to dispute what they put in that notice. That's called due process. That's the cornerstone of this country. It's that, Carolyn. And to have that going on is outrageous. I've had judges tell me, oh, good luck, Roger, you're going to fight him. Oh, this ought to be interesting. Judges telling me that, Carolyn. And because of the mother that I had and the family that I had, my father was a deputy chief of the Portland Fire Department. He said, the only thing he said to me, he said, leave it better, son, than you found it. That was my parents' legacy. Yeah. There were known all, and to see this kind of thing going on, the abuse and the traumatizing of our children. And and the adults turning the blind eye. All they want to do is go out and golf, play, do whatever they want to do. Oh, Roger, I don't like to hear all that kind of thing doing this. I said they should be horsewhipped. I said, people, that's the duty of every generation, to pass on to their posterity clean, limited constitutional government. That's an absolute moral duty of every adult of every generation. If you don't, if you leave them a police state and a mountain of debt, I said, people, when you make your funeral arrangements, be sure and include spittoons, if that is your legacy.
Yeah.
So that we cannot do. And my mother was from immigrant parents. That's what put her, you know, the hardship she went through as a child, but the character that it gave her was tremendous. And so and I've got a picture here that was taken years ago down at the court. This mother of mine, 4 foot, if you can see this is my mother, 4'10", 85 pounds, outside of the courthouse, Judge Ellen Rosenblum's courtroom, in the court. When they arrested me, ordering my arrest, guards storming the courtroom, I looked around and all the men's eyes were big and round, and I called out like a child. I was almost 60 years old. I said, "Mother!" And mother, at 85, shot out of the jury box, Carolyn, moving through the crowd, the guards, up to the judge, and she said, "What's the meaning of this?" To the Judge Gregory Milnes, and he threw up his hands, Carolyn, like a heat shield in front of my mother, doing this. And the guards, I'll go. She intimidated the hell out of all of them. That, I said, people, but for mother, I can't get anyone else. Pamela Gaston would do it. Will Gaston would do it. Richard Gill now takes him on.
Oh, yeah.
Carolyn, we're going to get, she's
winding
up. We're going to get him,
We're
Carolyn.
gonna get him.
Yeah, so this is, so what you formed this group, this grandparents raising grandchildren.
Yes.
And the thrust of that is exactly what we're talking about, isn't it? That these children have safe, loving, caring homes where the motive is the well-being of the child and not keeping them as for income purposes.
Right.
See,
right.
That is what it has scant, because these have you what I've noticed, when they get 18 years old, what do? They're off the system then? They're out?
Yeah, they out of the system then.
No,
they have nothing else to do with them out when they out of the system.
So they just...
Where are they going? They just leave. Or either just stay with the
or
parents
they
or whoever.
get picked up for any offense, anything, and they're prosecuted and thrown into these to the jails, filling up the jails.
That's what they're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then they leave them out there on the street. They won't even give them a chance to get a job or anything. They could have something there for the kids. You know what I'm saying? A job, or here you could do this or something. But they don't have anything for the kids that I know of. But thank God that mine going to college.
Yes, well,
and
Carolyn,
they're getting these grants and everything.
You're a role model. I said, you, my mother, others that instinctively, when children are being abused, traumatized, the adults cannot tolerate it. Mother was like a mama lion. Someone messed with her cubs. Boy, she'd take them. I learned very early, you don't argue with mother.
Yeah.
My brother, who's it's a little story, when she was two-fisted and he was doing something and she whacked him on the shoulder. All of a sudden he got tears in his eyes. She said, "Oh, I didn't think I could hurt you." He said, "No, I'm just so mad I can't hit you back." That was this mother, this tremendous mother we had, and father too.
Yeah, but you know these people today, DHS, I don't care about DHS. What they do, they hire these little young people to come through the system to be DHS workers, and they don't have no kids, and they don't care about where you put the kids or who you put the kids with, if what they're doing to the kids and all this ugly stuff you were saying, they molesting the kids and they even kill the kids, then what they gonna say? I'm sorry, do not bring that child back to nobody.
Well,
but they never know when they might be in that position They may lay down one night and wake up, and they be in the same position, and they wake up with nothing.
Well, I tell people what I've noticed is all these children in adult bodies, Carolyn. I'm seeing all these grown men, but acting like children. Their hats on backwards, their pants down around their bottoms, and this unbelievable behavior. When I was growing up, I was so fortunate. I had a Marine Corps sergeant and a chief officer in the fire department as a father. When we went out of the house, your hair was combed, your shirt was tucked in, and at the house, when you got up, you cleaned up after yourself.
That's
I said
right.
we were so fortunate to have had that kind of childhood, and to deprive children of that, and for the state to be involved in it and doing that. That is what is scandalous to me, Carolyn. That cannot be our legacy.
No, it can't be.
At our age, in our place, I said our legacy and duty is to leave to those children the opportunities that my generation had.
Yes.
I said we came in a golden age, and I'm seeing that all of this state coming in and taking over and doing all of this. I go down and talk to the governor. Oh, they just give me this big wide-eyed look. So we've got a few minutes left, Carolyn. Is there things that are really pressing on you now that you've got this grandparents group, and you've given the address of that, and anything else that you want these listeners to be aware of?
I want them to come together. We need to come together as DHS give they up in numbers. I would love to be up in numbers. I need you to come and support me at 6038 North Montana at Ockley Green School every last Tuesday of the month from 9 to 11, if you would. But you know what? Payback is a bad mother for you. That means things is going to turn over, and you're going to wish you had did what you did when you did it.
Well,
and the man, Bruce Goldsboro, I'm calling him out to correct the mistake he said, and correct that mistake and put my grandchildren where they belong, with us, their family.
Absolutely.
Before any 18 years old. That's what I want.
And yes, and listeners, that is so critical that all of us join together with one voice to these public employees. You are public employees. If you traumatize these children, you will pay. We will not tolerate it. We will not tolerate innocent children being traumatized and being deprived of their biological family.
Right.
I said, I'm so fortunate. I have this family, this extended family from the time I was a little guy. And you just feel a part of this whole system, and you're free to go out and pursue your objective because you're in a safe environment. But if you're not in a safe environment, that takes over everything. So if there's anything, we just have a few seconds left.
You know, I'm a grandparent, true enough. I got 20 grandkids and 18 great-grand. But you know, I put my life on hold for my grandchildren so they wouldn't be with these other people, and they still took my 2 away from me. But if you're out there, you need to know this. You got to come together, and we got to help one another. We just can't it ain't gonna happen to me. You never know from one day to the next day what's gonna happen to you.
So
a lot of parents will not take care of their grandkids because they said they did their duty.
Carolyn, well, thank you so much for coming on and telling your story. And listeners, listen to what she's saying. Get in contact with her. She has given you the number. Get in contact with her. Get a group together and to send a message to all of these state employees that we will not tolerate any abuse of our children, period. Thank you, Carolyn.
Thanks for having me.
Okay.
Is it over?